Let me first of all begin from where you left. Kuna watu wengine watauliza mbona mkonda Busia. And I know it's a critical question. Let me explain it. We invited the leadership of Busia and the affected people for only one simple reason, because we needed to have a conversation largely with other important stakeholders such as the feed manufacturers, researchers, and other agencies that were very critical on planning on our way forward. And obviously, we were getting a lot of support from private sector, and it was proving difficult to mobilize the private sector who are running industries to go with us to Busia. And that's why we invited and facilitated that the people of Busia come here. Now let me tell you what we have discussed. Number one, hii kitu ya samaki, like the way Governor has said here, it is an important conversation that we must have going forward. Number one, people have diversified on means of catching the fish, particularly in the lake areas. And for obvious reasons. There are, number one, is security issues or harassment issues. Then there's also issues of safety and other, what do you call it, hatari, and by we lose so many lives in the lake over the period. So the residents of that area diversified means and ways of ensuring they have enough catch to sustain their lives. And they introduced what we call caged fishing. Now, this upwelling conversation is not the first to happen. If you remember, about last year, it happened in other parts of the lake, where we lost equally the same number of fish or even greater. So what we had wanted to do today here is to have a conversation on what it is that we need to do so that we can sustain this kind of investment on behalf of the people, for the people. Number one, our researchers have informed us there may be issues of placements. I've directed here today, the institutions in my ministry will have to go to the ground and work with county governments and CBOs and cooperatives at the mashinani level, so that they help them to design the cages that can stand extreme weather and this thing called upwelling. Kuna watu wengine wameuliza upwelling ni nini? Upwelling kwa Kiswahili ni kitu kifupi sana. Yaani maji ya chini ya kutoka kuja juu ambayo inapunguza pumzi za samaki. Ni kama wewe sasa ukienda baharini, utoke juu ukienda chini, pumzi zako zinapungua. In the opposite, kwa samaki inafanyika hivyo. Na ikija juu, pumzi za samaki zinakuwa chache, and then they end up dying. So our researchers have informed us there are mitigations that can be put in place. And that's why I directed here today, watu waende ground, wapange hawa wafugaji wa samaki kwa njia ya kueleweka, wapewe training, and we have agreed with the Council of Governors through His Excellency Honorable Otuoma that we shall have an engagement from Tuesday going forward so that we plan it well. Hata upwelling ikuja siku ingine samaki wasipotee. Tumepatana mpaka hapo. Then the other thing is because of the trajectory ya hii biashara ambayo tumeiona kwa muda, I am sure if it continues within a year or two, Kenya will have the capacity to export a lot of fish. Because if this area alone, you talked about 300 plus cages, this one alone, and Kisumu is doing, Homa Bay is doing, Siaya is doing, Migori is doing, and therefore we are going to create a huge market that contributes, number one, to our food security, number two, job creation and wealth creation. So therefore we are largely talking about economic progression,
even cost,
and for the people, and even the cost of the food. So therefore na pia pwani nimekumbusha hapo, even in the coastal region pia anaanza kuangalia mambo ya mariculture, you know, uvuvi, ufugaji wa samaki kwa bahari na kwa kwa lake, of course, and this is what we want to introduce even in like Turkana and other places, and even like Baringo, even in the hinterland, because we have as a ministry institutions that are creating archeries and wanting to produce more fingerlings that we can feed into the communities. Finally, is that the other reason as to why we had asked our brothers from Busia to come to Nairobi is because we had mobilized private sector to contribute kurisha our biashara. If you go to someone who you are asking, saidia sisi resources, alafu mwambie tuende na wewe mahali, naweza kuwa ngumu. Kama huyu mdosi hapa ameongea hapa, tuliongea na hawa, wametupatia fish feeds total, pamoja na wale ambao hawako hapa, 2.5 million worth of fish feed, ambazo mnaziona ndio hizi. And then the ministry will provide 500,000 fingerlings to the affected people after guiding them on how to place the cages. We'll give them 500,000 fingerlings. And then we've also negotiated a discounted price going forward. For these affected people, we've negotiated a discounted price to try and bring them back to track. Yani tuwarudishe pale walipokuwa kuendelea mbele.
Governor is giving 7 million.
And I'm grateful my governor and my brother Governor Utoma has also committed not only to provide resources but also to work with us going forward. Initially there had been a bit of issues. Governors, the national government, county government were seen like they were competing for space. The lake is so vast. The opportunities are too many. Our people ni wale. So therefore there's no reason as to why we can compete for anything rather than coordinate, cooperate, and ensure we complement one another. So therefore I want to say that we are here to assure the Kenyan people that hawa ndugu zetu ambao wamepata huu mkasa, we will do whatever we can to ensure we put them back on track. Ingine ya muhimu ni kwamba I informed the governor that the landing sites, we had the 2 landing sites. The one in Mukoba, Governor, here tulimaliza. We need to come and hand it over to you and the fisher folk and the community, so that we can agree on when we can do it, because imeisha. The next one is that we have agreed with Governor here that we will look at the designs we had proposed on building another landing site in Bumbe. So we are consulting on the designs with the county government and the stakeholders. And Governor, I want to report to you that we have about 150 million that we've set aside ready to go to the ground. And therefore, I'm anticipating by, say, January mid, we should be able to break ground. And I have asked, my consultants had informed me that construction period will be about 9 to 12 months. And I said, landing sites, haina ghorofa mingi. I have given them 6 months to 7 months to 8 months. So I'm hoping after January, when we break ground, by August, we should hand it over to the county for the people to benefit. Nimalizie hapo niseme asanteni na sincerely apologize for keeping you guys waiting. We really didn't mean to. Tusamehee? Mbona mstaki kusamehe watu hivi? Kuna swali?
Tutafanya demonstration.
Yeah.
Waziri, mimi naitwa Vincent Afande kwa niaba ya Radio Citizen. Kuna maswali mawili. Moja ni kwako na moja ni kwa Governor.